We are not rare. But before you leave, you will perceive the lore will be unlocked. You might be stalked by a Sasquatch or a ghost witch, possibly even a ghost that will boast about knowing the Ohio grassman or even the Michigan dogman. Werewolves hunt, poltergeists are up front, but in these backwoods folklore is unlocked.
Welcome to Folklore Unlocked. I'm Austin, and like always, I'm joined by Ethan.
Yep, hello again, everyone.
And this week we are taking a look at maybe the second most famous blood-sucking cryptid, and that's the Chupacabra. And the name Chupacabra is Spanish for goatsucker, because chupa or chupra is blood in Spanish, and cabra is goat in Spanish, and it's named that way for its vampirism of cattle, with goats being its favorite, I guess, blood to drink.
And there's two different descriptions for the Chupacabra depending on where you are. The Puerto Rican description is that it's in the Puerto Rico and it's the surrounding islands. The Chupacabra is described as a reptilian and or alien-like creature. And it's roughly the size of a small bear with a row of spines from its neck to the base of its tail. And a picture here of a rendition of kind of what it might look like.
So very much looks like a large lizard or a deformed alien.
Yeah.
In the United States and Mexico, it's described as a canine creature that looks like a dog or coyote with mange. And if you're on YouTube, you can kind of see that we've got a picture here of what it might look like.
And sightings. So it was initially sighted in Puerto Rico in 1995 and has been reported as far north as Maine in the United States and as far south as Chile. It also has been reported outside the Americas in places like Russia and the Philippines, and all reports have been criticized as not credible due to lack of evidence.
Yeah, yeah, and if there is evidence, it's argued that it's the previously mentioned dog or coyote with mange.
Yeah, I mean, all they really have are like animals that have been killed, and they might have puncture marks. That's about it.
Yeah, and the first potential Chupacabra attacks happened in 1975 after a series of livestock killings happened in the small Puerto Rican town of Mocha. The attacks were blamed on El Vampiro de Mocha, or in English, the vampire of Mocha. And it was also blamed on a satanic cult. And even more killings of animals were reported, with each having small circular incisions and having been bled dry. And that's kind of a signature for Chupacabra attacks, is the small circular incisions and having been completely drained of blood. So in all future attacks, just assume they found small circular incisions and a creepy lack of blood.
Mm-hmm. The first attributed attack to the Chupacabra occurred in 1995. in which 8 sheep were discovered dead in March in Puerto Rico with 3 puncture wounds and completely drained of blood, like we said before. And then in August of 1995, an eyewitness, Madeline Tolentino, reported seeing the creature in Canovanes, Puerto Rico, where as many as 150 farm animals and pets have been reported dead. Then, Benjamin Radford did a 5-year investigation, which he documented in his 2011 book, Tracking the Chupacabra, and concluded that the description that Torrentino gave was based on a creature Sill from the 1995 film Species.
Which would make sense with the timeline. Species was a movie that came out in 1995, and Tolentino came out with her report in 1995. I'm going to assume after watching the film. So,
Have you seen anything on Species?
no.
Okay, okay. It's not that great of a movie. It's just a little bit weird. I'll just leave it at that.
And then I- I'm just going to throw this in, and it's a little sidebar here, but there was also a video of an alleged chupacabra, and like on the Texas Mexico border that shows, like I said, an alleged chupacabra running away from the camera person. That's pretty famous. And on the pop culture, there's been lots of film and shows that covered chupacabras, including 2012 South Park episode called Chupacabra, a 1997 X-Files episode, El Mundo Gira. Hope we're pronouncing these Spanish words right. We are very obviously not native Spanish speakers. DC Comic Teen Titans Academy has a character named Chupacabra, which I'm just now which I found out about doing research. A 1999 episode of Futurama, Al Chupinbro, and also Mound Monsters also did.
Of course, about monsters.
Hey, what can I say? I like that show.
Oh, I wasn't saying anything wrong against it, but it's just like, of course they have. And some theories for things, like we've kind of gone over already, was that it's a dog or coyote with mange, like the one in the United States, a dog or coyote with itch mites, which also could cause the kind of mangy-looking dog coyote kind of thing, and then stray Mexican hairless dogs. So I mean, basically some sort of canine that is like without hair.
At least for the United States and America.
Yeah, that doesn't talk about the Puerto
and
Rican
Mexico
one.
versions. And for the lack of blood, because it's not for not found on the ground or anything. I believe that the puncture marks could be caused by either vampire bats, which do exist, but they don't. That theory for me falls apart because they don't drain what they drain whatever animal they're drinking the blood completely dry.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So,
Also, the puncture marks wouldn't really be in a circle unless they did multiple different puncture marks, like turning.
so at least for the puncture marks and for the lack of blood found, I think my theory is that there's some kind of cult or cults that's using the like draining these animals of blood and using them for their rituals.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It probably could be a canine with mange. I mean, that's pretty easy, at least for the one in the United States. About the blood, I have no idea. I don't know for sure if rituals and cults are very common in some of these areas that the animals have been found. So, I mean, it's possible. And I do like the idea of the vampire bat kind of being there. But if the marks are circular, I don't think it could be a vampire bat because it's not like a vampire bat has like a circular mouth with teeth or something. But
Yeah,
still,
and they don't completely drain the host of blood either.
yeah, yeah. Either way,
Plus
super.
for
What? Go
plus
ahead.
for the Puerto Rican description, aliens.
Alien, reptilian aliens.
Exactly. And on to our thoughts. We kind of went over it. I think the U.S. and Mexican descriptions are probably dogs or coyotes with mange or itch mites based on the descriptions. As for the Puerto Rican descriptions, I don't know what it could be. Aliens, I don't know. And for the puncture marks, it's probably a person or persons using the blood for some kind of ritual. That's really the only logical thing that comes to my mind for the lack of blood. So people make up your own minds.
Oh, I just thought about the Puerto Rican one. What I thought it could be like. It kind of reminds me of, and it reminds me of an iguana.
Could be an iguana too. Yeah, that would
I mean, iguanas
also
don't really
make sense.
suck blood or anything like that, but they do have the spines all the way down their back or whatever. And I think I've seen videos of iguanas like running on their back two legs. That might be some other type of reptile. I don't know, but it reminds me of iguana.
Well, that could be people would find their livestock dead, drained of blood, and then they see something that they don't get a good look at,
Hmm.
like an iguana, and they're like, "Oh, that's a chupacabra."
Yeah, that's a chupacabra, sir. But yeah, as we've already gone over, I agree it's probably just a canine with mange, and I have no idea about the blood aspect there. But I do kind of, like I said there, an iguana kind of does look like the Puerto Rican like picture that we had there a little bit. Now, might not be the size of a small bear, I guess, depending on how small of a bear you're talking about. But
But people who are scared and who don't get a good look at something tend to increase the size of whatever they saw unintentionally.
yeah, true, true.
So they tend to amp up the size. Not mean to you. It's not. I'm not saying, hey, these people are intentionally lying to people because they can. It's like they're scared, possibly at night. They just found a bunch of their livestock or pets, dead, so
Mm.
they're freaked out. They see something possibly out of the corner of their eye or in some bushes, and they think, oh, oh my, that's a big creature. That's the chupacabra.
either way, Chupacabras are kind of cool cryptid. I do like that. Like we went over all the different TV series it's been on, movies, whatnot. There, I know there's quite a few others, but like those are some because I think Billy and Mandy had a Chupacabra because I think it was sucking on Billy for a while. But Chupacabra is one of those that kind of like quicksand, you know, like quicksand you thought was going to be a bigger thing in the world, but it never ended up being anything. The Chupacabra is when I sat there, I'm like, is the Chupacabra real? Am I going to have to worry about being like my blood getting sucked out? And never ever came up.
Exactly. But I think that's all we got for this week. And next week we'll be taking a look at the Flatwoods monster. So join us next week as we travel out to tell a story about a West Virginian cryptid. And we'll see you next week.
Yep. Bye, everyone.
You might wake up beside Spearfinger with an extended visit from Jack the Ripper. But if you're lucky, it'll be an angel on that range hill of Louisiana. You might meet Marie Laveau or the Rougarou. At Folklore Unlocked, Austin and Ethan concoct their theory of the eerie and unexplained around the world, sometimes even the underworld. The lore is locked behind secrets, but folklore is meant to be unlocked. The Sokaloo is haunting NC as well as Tennessee. There are many giants that might be clients of the Dark Watchers, who might have psychokinesis. And the phantom time hypothesis is like a phoenix, coming back around again and again. The laser strain on your brain if you got more than 2 brain cells in you. Some believe McCartney's dead because they read into the Mandela effect, which is subject to folklore.